Okay, so welcome to the first meeting of our 4-H let's see, youth champions. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was just for a second. And Layla, can you take just a second to introduce yourself? Maybe your name, the county, your area of interest within 4-H, and can you just briefly share your favorite 4-H memory?
Okay, well, hello, I'm Layla. Let's see. I'm with Elko County. I'm vice president of Battleborn 4-H Club, which is a newer club. I'm secretary of the Elko County officer team, and I just got accepted for state ambassador, which is really, really exciting. I have to say my most exciting 4-H memory would be, let's see, I have to think for a minute because there's definitely quite a few. 4-H camp, we were doing a skit contest with everybody, and I'm dyslexic, so I have a hard time pronouncing names and stuff, and everybody was really, really awesome with me, and we made a joke out of it, kind of. But I got everybody extremely involved and excited to do the skits, even though it was kind of a smaller crowd.
Great. And Dr. Lyles, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Hi, Layla. I am Ivory Lyles. I'm the Director of Cooperative Extension and the Associate Dean. I'm excited about where the 4-H program is headed in the state, the new direction that things are moving.
Great.
Well, thank you.
And I haven't, sorry, I'm pulling up your PowerPoint right now. I thought it was open, but oh, there we go. Okay. So just so you, because I haven't officially met you yet, I'm Carrie Starkin, the State 4-H Director. And yeah, so I'm going to pull up your PowerPoint for you. Let's see. I just have to share my screen. Okay. You can see that, right, Layla?
It's starting to pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, Layla. My job tonight as instruction by Carrie was to give an overview of what's going on here.
Oh, do you have it?
There we go.
Okay.
Can you see it, Layla?
Yep.
Just let me know
My
when.
job was
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, to give an overview of cooperative extension and so that people have an understanding of how everything fit together in case they're called upon to talk about it with the legislature or with other groups, have the big picture view. Cooperative Extension, as its name indicates, is a unique organization in that it is a partnership between the 3 levels of government, which is the federal, state, and county. We are joined at the federal level by USDA, at the state level by the state of Nevada, and of course, each of the counties in the state of Nevada, which Elko County would be one, put funds into cooperative extension. And that's critically important for the program to work the way it was originally designed. All 3 partners must be a part of that. Okay, Carrie. At the University of Nevada, cooperative extension is part of the College of Ag, Biotechnology, there we go, Ag, Biotechnology, and Natural Resources. And so I've given you a brief outline of the 3 parts of the College of Ag. We call it CABNER for short. It has an academic component, which is the teaching piece and where the students go, and maybe you'll consider joining us here in the academic unit. The Agricultural Experiment Station is also part of CABNER, where the agricultural research is done. And then cooperative extension is where the work gets carried out throughout the state of Nevada. Now, in this state, We are required by the state of Nevada, by state law, to offer 6 programs. Those 6 programs are agriculture, children, youth, and families, which 4-H is part of, natural resources, horticulture, community and economic development, and nutrition. And so those are the 6 programs by state law that we work in. Our extension educators across the state are normally engaged in some part of work in each of those programs. Now, I like to think that our 4-H program is the most uniquely known program in the state. It is identified by the clover, and everyone that see the clover say, "Hey, I know that. That's 4-H. I'm part of that bigger picture." Okay, Carrie. We are unique in that we are in every county in the state. However, we do not have county offices in each county, but we do service all 17 counties in the state of Nevada. Esmeralda County, which has a little over 1,000 people, is serviced out of Nye County. And so we service that group there. And Story County is serviced in cooperation with Carson City. So you will frequently see the name Carson City / Story because we do not have an office in Story, but we offer our programs out of the Carson City office. All of our other counties do have offices, and in Clark County, because of the size and the population of Clark County, we are now up to 5 satellite offices in Clark County. Our priorities is that we partner with county commissioners to help identify high value program that's important for the counties. All of our faculty and staff, when they move into a county and on an approximately 5-year rotation, do what we call a need assessment, where they go in, they design a research-based instrument to send out to the citizens of that county to determine what are the problems you're having, what are the concerns, what are the things that you think we should work on in this county. Then we apply research-based information to help solve those problems and those issues based on that need assessment. Another priority has been our communication, because we do not feel that the citizens of this state, in particular in the urban areas, truly understand the dynamic programs that we offer. And so as a result of that, we brought on new and additional communication people to help us identify those programs and to communicate that in a more effective way across the state. I personally see this communication boot camp that Carrie is launching with our 4-H part as being part of that, as far as helping us tell our story more effectively across the state. Another program that's new and up and coming is our promotion of agriculture and economic development opportunities in Nevada, which is a brand new launch, particularly coming out of Clark County, that's excited. It's looking at agriculture in a different and unique way. Okay, Carrie. Back up. Back up, back up. I'm not sure she's taking out some of these. I asked her to take out because I'm not for sure you're interested in some of the things that we're doing in agriculture in Eureka County and working with Mike Taylor and economic development specialists over there. So let's move on. I don't think that. Here's the next one. Funding. And one of the reasons that you may be called upon along with the other 4-Hers in the state to assist. What you're looking at here is a pie chart graphic representation of the cooperative extension budget. It also represents the 3 parts of our funding, plus what our faculty and staff generate by the hard work that they do through grants and contracts. You can see that our county funding is a 42% of our budget of about $8.5 million. Our state funding is only $3.8 million. And then our federal funding, I need to move that to over just a little bit. I can't see the number. I think federal funding in this state is about 1.5 million as well. But our faculty bring in the second largest portion of our budget. They bring in, that bought in last year about $5.5 million. And so that is right up there with the county contribution. When you add it all up, our total operating budget is about 23 million this year for cooperative extension. And why that's important is we have a larger campaign going on where we're asking our state legislature for a budget enhancement request. And I think that's the next slide that we have here. Yes, our budget enhancement request, because since 2009, when we were cut drastically in this state, we have not been able to receive or get those funds back. And so we're looking at how do we replenish some of the positions we lost in 2009, and how do we strengthen some of our programs. We're asking for 4.6 or 4.7 million over the biannual. We have a biannual legislative session here, you're probably aware of that, which means our legislators only meet every 2 years. And so the first year of the 2 years, we're asking for 1.1 million. The second year, we're asking for the other 3.5 million for a total of 4.7 million. Now, what are we going to do with those funds? We're going to do several things with those funds. Oh, you can move on, Carrie. Next slide. We're going to, the first one talks about our statewide animal science specialist that we're looking for. Particular, this position would be both adult and youth, focusing on strengthening our 4-H livestock program as well as our adult livestock program in the state. We need that position drastically. We do have one, what we call wildlife livestock person, a range person. That person is actually housed in there, but they have not given any attention to our youth livestock program at all, and we would like to see them do that. Okay. We're looking for a weed specialist. This state has a lot of obnoxious weeds, especially when we have a major fire that comes through and burns and cause the native vegetation to be destroyed. What comes back is weeds, and we need someone to help us address the chemical control. How do we prevent that, and how do we stop that from occurring in the state? The next slide, I think, here is on the natural resource land specialist, because we have so much of our state that is in public lands. We need to better understand how to utilize those public lands, what we can and can't do, and how do we get additional resources out of those lands. Now, if I remember correctly, the next slides are going to be the ones that start talking about my #1 priority. No, it's not. We got one more to go. Urban agriculture that we're trying to do in Clark County. I think the next one then should start the 4-H.
There we go.
Yes. Okay. The #1 priority of these new dollars is our enhancing our 4-H program all across this state. We are projecting that if we get these new dollars, we can enhance our 4-H program to 100,000 youth within the next 5 years. We will increase our support for 4-H program in all 17 counties. We will increase the degree requirement and other things for our 4-H professional staff. Luckily, the person you guys just hired in Elko County would already meet the standards that we are moving to, but we want to make sure that that same standard exists all across the state. And so we want that means as you ask people to do more, to have higher degrees, you must pay them more. So that would be the objective of what we would like to see happen to the 4-H program. Now, specifically, what we want to do is, next slide.
Yep.
We want to add a STEM specialist. to develop STEM-related programs, to work within the area of science and figure out how do we apply science hands-on and make it fun. We have a host of volunteers all across the state that we need research on how to more effectively work with volunteers, to do needs assessment, to determine what are the needs the volunteers have, how do we provide the in-service training to support those volunteers, all kinds of things that we need to do. And so we need a faculty member that would lead that effort. Thirdly, we're saying that we need someone to develop youth natural resources. In particular, how do we enhance archery, shooting sports, and all? Right now, archery and shooting sports and that whole gamut of activities is very important in this state. And we've got a wonderful organizational structure already in place. And we need to capitalize on how do we enhance that and develop that more effectively for our 4-H program, even to the point of how do we strengthen our camping program related in those areas. So we need someone to lead that effort for us. So all three of those positions would be directly impactful on our 4-H program and helping us increase the 4-H program across this state. I think is there one more?
Nope.
Okay. And so those are the things that we're asking our legislature for. We will continue to ask our extension educators to work hard and bring in more dollars. But we think our state legislature needs to also support the program because counties are doing their part. The educators are doing their part writing grants, but those grants are self-directed and we need to follow through on what we say we're going to do when we get a grant. So we need those flexible dollars to enhance our 4-H program and to bring those new faculty, those new positions on board to support our 4-H program. Any questions you might have? Or have I totally confused you?
I'm kind of catching on. A lot of this is new to me, so I'm just taking in the information as it comes. But I think I got most of it.
And I'll be sharing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm done. I'm good.
Well, and I'll be sharing the PowerPoint with you so you've got it. And then also, Ivory, I'm going to share the enhancement document with everybody as well. So it gives a little bit more detail for them too.
Yes. The idea tonight was to give you the big overview picture of how we're put together with USDA, the state of Nevada, and Elko County. Each three of those entities put funds into cooperative extension. And this year, our big request is to get our state legislature to put additional funds into cooperative extension, in particular to support our 4-H program.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. I think if we can get it, it'll be really good.
Yes.
Yes, and one of the pieces too is the natural resources specialist would be housed more than likely up in Elko County. The 4-H natural resource shooting sports coordinator would more than likely, I mean, that's the plan at this point, is to have them. So it does impact your county as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to share with you some.
Yeah, I'm going to jump off and good luck, Linda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ivory. All right. I'm going to share with you some 4-H statistics.
Okay.
So that way you get a little bit broader picture of the state 4-H program as well. So, all right. I just have to, trying to figure out sharing the screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, you're seeing the PowerPoint, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is it the actual slides or is it like the whole, is it just one slide on the page?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sometimes it gets a little goofy. So so we do have a statement of purpose or kind of a mission statement, I would say, for 4-H. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you know, our goal is to be an age-appropriate positive youth development program that helps shape future leaders and innovators through research-driven, hands-on learning activities that focus on academic and career readiness. So do you feel like you get that?
Yeah.
That's very academic sounding, I know. Which is why we go to looking at, you know, our vision is a world in which, and this is actually the national vision for 4-H, you know, world in which youth and adults learn, grow, and work together as catalysts for positive change. And so for us, you know, our goal is that that 4-H is going to reflect the population, the demographics, the diverse needs and the social conditions of our country, and then also our state. And for us, you know, it says here 1 in 10 on the national level, they have a goal to reach 10 million youth. And I can't remember if that's by 2025 or 20, I think it might be, but in Nevada, our goal is to reach 100,000 youth by 2025. And I'll show you where we're at currently with that. And then, you know, we're working on a tagline, you know, Nevada 4-H empowering communities, enriching lives. Kind of explain in one sentence what we do.
That's a good tagline. I like that.
Yeah, the staff worked really, really hard coming up with that. It was about, I mean, it sounds funny, but it was about a 2-day process.
Oh, geez. Well, they did good. They did really good.
The one thing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with how 4-H is structured, but I'll just briefly, it's not in my slides, but I'll briefly go over that so you have an idea. So we are, as Ivory said, we are part of the USDA, or United States Department of Agriculture. That is where National 4-H headquarters resides. We do have a National 4-H program leader, and then we have other program leaders underneath that individual. We say we have the head clover, and then we have the other individuals that work in the area of healthy living, volunteer management, professional development. They're really there to guide our programming, help us come up with, help us find funding, those types of things. And then also they do sort of set policy. They're the group that gives the name and emblem, like, you know, you have to have permission to use the 4-H name and emblem. They are the body that gives that permission. And then it goes down to the state level, and 4-H is run through the land-grant universities in every state. And, you know, in Nevada, it's run through University of Nevada, Reno. I just got back from a program leaders meeting, so it was all of the people in my position across the country. We all met this week to kind of work on our direction and where we want to see things go. It included our national partners. And then it goes down to the counties, and at the county we have our extension educators. So in your case, that would be Jill. And then for those that are watching the video later, in Clark County, in Northeast Clark County, we do have an extension educator. We're actually working on getting a faculty member in Clark County, but almost every county has an extension educator. And then from there, we have either a program manager or program coordinator, which Liz has the title, I think, of program coordinator. And then we also have community-based inspectors. And they're really those individuals that are on the ground working, you know, doing the day-to-day work of the 4-H program. And then we have our volunteers and our youth. We do have a private partner in National 4-H Council, and they are our fundraising arm. So National 4-H Council goes out to the big corporations and they get donations. You know, example, they've been working with Google on some big programs and getting money from Google. They've been also working with Microsoft. They've been working with Walmart. So they really go after the big dollars. And then in turn, sometimes we get those opportunities at the state level to participate in those types of programs. We haven't really gotten a lot of opportunities in Nevada, but we're working on it. But just to show you kind of what the 4-H program looks like and where it's been, you can see the overall enrollments. We've been kind of all over the board, but this last year, we were at about 67,000 youth. Now, you'll see the difference between the 67 and the 61,000 youth. What that is so like for you, Layla, if you go to camp, and then you're also in the club program, and maybe, you know, maybe you're actually, maybe somebody comes in and into your classroom and does, you know, a 4-H person comes into your classroom, then technically you've been reached 3 times. So you would be in the overall enrollment with duplicates. You'd be counted 3 times.
Okay.
Our system can, yeah, our system can withdraw everybody that is a duplicate. And then that we reached 61,569 unique youth this year. So, you know, so when we have the goal of 100,000, you know, we're starting at 61,000 essentially. And so in 5 years, we want to go from 61,000 to 100,000. We had about 29,000 males and about 32,000. We run pretty even on male, female. And then you can see the age categories. So that K through 2 is what we call Clover Buds. And then we have our juniors, intermediates, seniors, and then other. My goal, one of my goals is to keep that senior level, keep those numbers higher. You know, we actually jumped a lot this last year, which is great. But, you know, I'd like to see us not lose so many.
Yeah.
And part of that is finding programs like this that they can participate in. So keeping their interest and so, and then you can see the residential. So it does, it looks at if you're there's actually 5 categories, but we break it down into rural and urban. And so it really, you know, you can see our big number is our urban number, but we also know that the rural population is still extremely important. So, but when we, you know, that's why you may hear some efforts being put into Clark County or even Washoe County and part of that. And I'm even seeing that Elko's starting to get more of an urban feel. You know, I really kind of, you know, not necessarily the outlying areas, but I'm seeing that a little bit more in Elko.
Yeah, it's starting to grow.
Yeah, and well, and I always laugh. So I grew up when I was in high school and my last couple of years of high school, and then in college, I actually showed horses growing up, and we spent every year we would go to at least 1 or 2 shows down in Elko. And I look at now what Elko looks like compared, and that was 30 years ago. But you know, I look at it now and it's like, wow, it's, you know, I used to think that the fairgrounds was not, like, it was in the middle of nowhere, and now it's completely surrounded. And so, but yeah, so, you know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, the STEM programming has been a big one, but, you know, it kind of shows you in our numbers. You know, our ethnicity, Latino versus non-Latino youth, that pretty much fits with our state demographics as well. And then you can see it broke down by race. You know, we do have a lot of room to grow in these numbers as far as our, you know, looking at underserved audiences that we may not have worked with in the past. And, and then we have our volunteers. So we have about almost 2,900 adult volunteers and about 1,300 youth volunteers, so teen volunteers. So that would be like yourself or, you know, mostly your county officer team, I'm sure, are included in those 1,300, those teens that take on leadership roles. And then we also, so 4-H has a variety of delivery modes that we offer programs. So the club program is probably the one we're most well known for. And you can see, we were about 4,000 youth last year. I have a goal that I want to get to here, and so we'll have to keep looking at that. Special interest and short term, those may be things like doing I know in Carson City they do what they call Capital City Farm Days. It's a one-day event, and they get about, oh gosh, they probably 2,500 kids come through and learn about agriculture, learn about the agriculture community. And so they're getting education, and but it's sponsored by Extension. And then our camp, that includes both our overnight camps and our day camps. A lot of our counties do during spring break, they offer day camps during, so kids have someplace to go. Also in the summer, a lot of counties do day camps. Our overnight camping numbers, I think that was actually last year about 450. Our goal is to increase that a whole lot in the next year. So we also go into the schools. About 18,000, almost 19,000 youth are reached through the school system. That would be our 4-H staff or volunteers or teens going into a classroom and supplementing the program in the school. We do have about 121 youth that are individual members. They're not part of a club. And it might be that they live too far out to be able to make it in for club meetings and those types of things. And then we have about 7,000 youth that we reach in formal after-school programs. So in some counties, we actually run after-school programs. Other counties, we go in and we're partners with an after-school program. So do you have any questions on those numbers?
No.
Okay. And then we have our projects. So last year we had about 87,000, or about 65% of our projects in 4-H were STEM, or around STEM. And that includes like the ag in the classroom, animal science, family and consumer science, the environmental education and earth science, which includes shooting sports, plant science, and then technology and engineering would be like aerospace, actually bicycle fits in there, welding, small engines, a lot of those projects. Probably our largest project area overall would be animal science, and I think there were about 24,000 animal science projects last year. But if you look at our individual projects, shooting sports is probably in the top 2 or 3 for size. We had about 3,500 youth last year that participated in shooting sports across the state.
That's good.
Yeah. And then so we do have 3 missions. The reason they're broke down by STEM, civic education or civic engagement, and then healthy living. Those are the 3 you're going to hear about. We have 3 mission mandates from USDA, from our federal partner, that so we are supposed to work in those 3 areas. So within, we're mandated by the state to do 4-H, and then with that, from the federal level, we're mandated to do those 3 programs. Everything we do in 4-H fits into one of those 3. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so about 18% of our projects were around civic engagement last year. And this was interesting because this actually, we tried a few new things, and I'm hoping that we can increase some of those, and I don't think Elko was able to do it because they were in between staff, but now that Liz is there, we did what we called text talk and revive civility. And so it was a workshop that we talked about having a civil conversation with individuals, how to have a civil conversation, to agree to disagree, essentially. And it was on an evening. And so we're going to do it again. We have to get through Capital Days first, and then we want to do that again for teens. And so we're trying to offer some more programs for teens. we've got the teen, you know, we did the teen retreat. That would fit into this category as well, you know, those types of things.
Mhm.
Then, you know, some of the pictures down here. So the one picture with the two children in front of the Capitol, we, you know, there's always the opportunity to go on some of those national trips. Like this one is what they called Leadership Washington Focus. It was for middle school aged youth to learn about leadership and civic engagement. But then there's also Citizenship Washington Focus, which you actually go to DC and learn about how the federal government works. So, you know, there are some of those opportunities that we're trying to raise the funds so that the counties, either the counties or the families, don't have to pay for that. And then healthy living, that's our other area. We had, you know, about 17% of our projects are in that area. That includes our foods and nutrition, health, and then personal safety. We don't have as high a program area in that. We do have a federal grant that's called SNAP-Ed or FNAP. We get money from USDA to run those programs for low-income families, and so with that they do a lot of youth programs, and so a lot of these numbers are in there. So I would really like to increase our healthy living program and our civic engagement program. But so, you know, Ivory talked about the goal of increasing to 100,000 members. So that's about a 47% increase for us for the coming year. That's one of the reasons why, you know, we were asking for the enhancement funds and why we're trying to get young people on board to help us share the 4-H story. That's really the biggest thing, is sharing that 4-H story. You know, we have to bring in about 6,400 youth a year, new participants a year, which is quite a number. So we have to figure out how we're going to do that. I personally have a goal of increasing our because if we're going to increase to 100,000 youth, then we need to increase our number of volunteers, because we can't have the program if we don't have the volunteers. So not quite as high of a number, you know, about a 30% increase of adult volunteers. And then I would like us to see us grow our club program. When you look at the research behind 4-H and youth development, it really shows that the club is where the youth get the best experience and the most comprehensive experience. I mean, and you know that because it's a long-term program, but you're getting a more in-depth interaction with a caring adult, and you know, not necessarily that you're learning the project skill, but you're getting more in-depth on those life skills that you're learning. So I would really like to see us increase our club membership to about 5,000. And so that's about a 20% increase. So about 193 club members per year. That's not horrible. To me, that's almost a doable number. I think we can do that. And then just, you know, there was a study done by Tufts University back on the East Coast. It was sponsored by 4-H. 4-H paid basically they paid to have it done, but it was a longitudinal. So it was about a 10-year study, and they looked at 4-H youth compared to non-4-H youth. So they surveyed both 4-H youth and non-4-H youth. They were really trying to find out what makes our program different. And so one of, you know, probably the biggest thing that they found is that contribution. Young people in 4-H are 3 times more likely to contribute than those that are not in 4-H. And that is both when they're young people and as they grow up. They're also 2 times more likely to pursue science in both out of school activities and also as a career choice. Once they go, you know, if they go on to higher ed. They're also 2 times more likely to go to college. You know, our 4-H youth, we do find that they are more apt to go on to some kind of college. that is really more post-secondary education. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year institution. It could be, whatever kind of post-secondary education that they choose. And then they also found that they're less likely to be involved in risky behaviors. And I see that every day. Our 4-H youth are just always, I never mind taking 4-H youth anywhere with me because they're so well behaved. So, not saying that I haven't had a few try to get away with things, but for the most part, 1 out of 50, maybe. So, and that's really, that just kind of shows a look at what the current 4-H program looks like and what we want to do with it. You can see we've got some pretty lofty goals, and to do that, we have to have money. So, do you have any questions about that?
Not really. I feel like
it's probably information overload, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But if you have questions, if questions come up, please feel free to let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other piece I wanted to go over tonight was just going over the program, and talk about some of the expectations, what we would like from you as the participants, and then find out a couple of things. So essentially this was put together, it was a program I put together really, really quick. I was sitting at a meeting of our Extension Advisory Council, which we have, some of the Extension Advisory Council individuals are going to be actually doing some of the trainings for this and for these sessions. And it's a group of individuals that helps us look at the 4-H or the extension program as a whole and what we want to do with, where we want to go. But I was sitting at that meeting, we were talking about this legislative session and the enhancements and everything else. And I was thinking, we don't want to just send the kids, a lot of times we say, would you be willing to go share your story? Mm-hmm. But we never prepare anybody, and to me, I think it's really critical that you get the skills so you're successful. And also these are skills hopefully that you can take on, mm-hmm. use in other parts of your life. And so I put it together in about a 2-week period. And and I gave the counties about a week to tell me who they wanted to be in the program. So, it was very, very quick. I'm hoping that we can continue this type of a program, not just when we need individuals to go to the legislative session, but also to use it for other, so that's one of the, but this year we just wanted, we wanted to also be able to utilize it for the legislative session. So essentially what we're asking is there may be some times we have no idea at this point what's going to happen with that budget enhancement request, because it did not get into the governor's budget, so it's not an automatic request. So we've been working, Dr. Lyles has been working very hard with the legislators trying to get some funding. So there may be a point when we need somebody to go to a committee hearing and testify to that committee hearing, to testify to legislators. The other piece is capital days. That's going to be very critical for us this year because that's going to be about the time that it really does start coming up. They should know most of the budget projections by that point. And so they'll know how much extra money they have to be able to give out. And so, getting you ready to be able to talk to the legislators that weekend. We do have a breakfast with them. So we're also going to ask that it's a possibility that you maybe help us with social media. If you've got, we may ask, I don't know what social media, I'm going to probably send out a survey to ask everybody what social media they have, what access, but, maybe sending out little social media blasts about your story, about your 4-H story or something happening, you know, or we may send you something and say, can you put this in a youth perspective? Because I can write all I want, but it's not necessarily, you know. So between that and the other piece that I've been thinking about, and this kind of actually came up from Elena, was doing a video of just having youth tell their stories. So we may have you guys produce some videos, you know, just short, quick, 15-second, 30-second video clips that we can put up on social media or we can send out in an email. I was trying to think of some of the other things. Oh, and then we might have you write letters to the editor or letters, you know, or just write a press. And those are all things that you're gonna get lessons on or sessions on. So, and then and if we do ask you, you know, if for some reason, you know, if we do ask you to come to like testify, I know for you that's going to be a little difficult in school, so we'll try to work with everybody as much as possible. I know in Clark County, they actually have a place that they can go in Vegas to testify. I don't know if they have the same thing up in Elko, I'm guessing. But if that does happen, if it becomes critical and we really need you, we would pay for your travel to come to Reno. So,
and with the pay,
what's that?
With the pay of travel, will that include like a place to stay and everything?
Yep. We would take care of all of that. Yep.
Awesome.
So, but you know, I mean, I know having a child myself, I'm a 14-year-old and he, you know, it's tough to miss school and I realize that, but I'm guessing schools would be pretty accommodating. I'm going to go down and testify in front of the legislature.
And I'm homeschooled too, so it's really easy for me just to get out and go.
There you go. So that even works better. So that would be great. And so we'll know more about that piece probably the first part of April.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, and then I'm going to order the shirts for everybody. They're just going to, I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be a polo shirt or probably it'll be like a long sleeved button down dress shirt that you would wear with like khaki pants.
Okay.
Type of, you know, when you go in and do that. And then I guess the other question I have, and this is for you and for others, the best way to communicate.
Email for me.
Okay. Because some, you know, obviously not everybody read their emails in the last couple of days.
Yeah, I'm on my email every single day.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say mine is always right here. I live by my email on my phone, but okay. And some people may want text and I can do whichever works best. You know, I can do multiple methods. So that was really about all I had for tonight.
I don't think I have any questions, and if I do, I'll definitely email you about them.
Yeah, for sure. Feel free to reach out, you know, if you need to email or text or call. I think I gave you guys my cell phone number, and that's honestly about the best way to get a hold of me. I'm not in the office as much as I should be. It's hopefully after the next couple of weeks, it'll calm down a little bit. So.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's no other questions, then I will let you go. We're done a little bit early, but the next one on Monday night, my speaker can't do it, so I'm working on either trying to find another speaker or I will teach the session. So, but I'll send an email out probably tomorrow about that.
Okay.
In the emails from now on will not be quite so like close to when things are, I mean, our sessions are very close together next month. It was a very intense, but you couldn't really draw it out too much longer because
Mhm.
your guys' trainings. So, but you know, when I communicate with you, I will try not to do it at the last minute.
Okay.
I was just getting the final names the last couple of days. So.
That's definitely crazy that you did that within a 2-week period.
Yes, but I'm excited. I'm super excited about this. So sometimes you just get those ideas and it's like, oh, let's try it and see. And so I'm excited to see how it works.
I feel like it'll be successful.
I hope so. And, you know, eventually, you know, these are the types of things we can do with the ambassadors as well. I just haven't, you know, you were the only one of the ambassadors that got back to me about being interested in this program. I think they're all pretty busy, but it's, you know, this could be something we could do with the ambassadors as well, but I think it's good to also give other youth opportunities to do this. I was also trying to look for young people that aren't necessarily totally ingrained in the 4-H club, but maybe have some other experience.
Would it be too late to try and get people involved to possibly run for this program?
We only took 10, and at this point we have 10.
Okay.
If we do have some that decide not to do it, then there could be a possibility.
Alrighty.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, this is kind of a pilot test for and so there could be opportunity in the future to do this. And what I would love to do next time is, instead of having the Zoom sessions, I'd love to go like maybe up to the 4-H camp for a weekend, and we could do the whole training in a weekend.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm thinking we'll do next time. It's just this year, you know, in the 2 weeks that I was putting it together, we got about 4.5 feet of snow up at the camp. So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, can't really do it there. So, I mean, we could, but it would be a nightmare. And I didn't really have the funding to bring everybody to camp. So that was the other piece. You know, so I think in the future I'm going to find the funding, and I'll just budget the funding, and then we'll bring everybody to camp. So, all right. Well, if nothing else, I'll let you go, and thank you.
Thank you.
And I will talk to you Monday night. If you know, if I don't hear from you before, have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.